back, Shane Green. I'm the Culture Hacker. Hey, listen, the last couple of weeks I've been asked a lot about our Generation Z. So I thought I'd kind of give you a couple of points, tips, how to think about this group, and most importantly, what to do with them. There are four main areas I want to talk about today that you've got to remember with your Zs. The first one is they think a little differently. Hey, remember those good old days when there was no internet? Yeah, long time ago, right? Well, understand this about our Zs. They probably had a piece of technology in their hand before they could even walk. So what does this mean? They've grown up on technology, the internet, social media, etc. They haven't had to change. Now, everybody tells me that these Zs are very adaptive to change. Why? Because they're used to processing things in short chunks. But on the flip side, what some research is suggesting is that maybe they're not as good as deep critical thinking. They're a little bit more forgetful. Can you believe that? And at the end of the day, what they want to be able to do is process things in short amounts of time. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, the first thing is that when you give them something that requires some sort of deep thinking, instead of doing those long, drawn-out brainstorming sessions, hours, half days, days, break it down into smaller segments. Give them like half an hour to ponder on something, let them take a break, maybe come back a couple of days later. Make sure you're giving them the opportunity and to take advantage of their quick thinking, come back, recap, and then go again. That will be much more effective than prolonging the pain of having them sitting in a room for a whole day trying to think. Another thing that you can think about doing is the whole idea of allowing them to get off their technology. One of the things that we've talked a lot about recently is this idea that maybe creating that sort of policy that requires people not to be on their technology when they're away from work. Every little bit counts. And one of the other things I think is interesting is that maybe that critical thinking is the exact type of training that your younger generations need. Listen, we provide sales, service, leadership training, all of those things. What's interesting in the last couple of years, even in the last 12 months, has been a shift in the type of training that's been requested. We've had a request for stress management training, creativity training, diversity, of course. But again, critical thinking training is now and maybe the next hot topic. So think about offering that to your Zs. All right, the next thing we got to think about with them. Listen, they process information differently, so they learn differently. This group grew up learning on YouTube. So guess what? When you think about your learning systems, the whole idea of classroom training, all-day sessions, we've talked about it with millennials already, they don't like it, but your Zs, they're gonna want it even less. You're gonna have to think about creating video type libraries that really speaks to them, not only in terms of the content, but more importantly, in terms of the chunk and the size of amount of information you're going to give to them. So start getting your video library set up because this is going to be a really important thing for them. Zs, we've got to talk about communication. Listen, research suggests, which is very positive, they love face-to-face interactions. So that's great. So remember, you've got to keep encouraging your managers that one-on-one interactions, face-to-face conversations are still the best. However, remember this with your Zs. They have learned by coming up on the internet and social media, they're very comfortable and confident in complaining and campaigning online, which means if they don't get the face-to-face, if they don't feel that they're going to get heard, they're going to go to the internet. Now, where's the challenge? Well, if they're campaigning outside of your company and outside of the organization, it can reflect badly on you. On the flip side, then, what I suggest is that companies must start thinking about creating their own intranet, their own social media pages. It's a movement that's been going for the last 4 or 5 years. You've got your Gen Zs coming in, you need to step up. Make sure you've got a way to complain and campaign online internally before they take it to the rest of the world. And then the final thing I want to talk about today is diversity. Listen, Gen Z will be the most diverse group, whether it's race, whether it's LGBTQ, all of those things have to start to come and play. What does that mean? They are more open, more accepting of diversity than ever before. Some recent research suggests that 77% of Generation Zs consider the level of diversity in the workplace when they're thinking about who to work for. So keep that in mind. What this really means is that companies, managers that hold outdated views, prejudices, biases that may be quite deeply in place, they are not going to attract the type of talent that you're looking for of this generation. They expect you to be open-minded. They expect you to listen to them. And listen, they're going to come to you with their ideas, their causes, and everything else. They're going to want you as a manager and company to align with them. Now, this doesn't mean that you actually have to, but you got to be willing to listen. You got to be open-minded, because if you do dismiss their views and dismiss it in a racially charged or even just a biased way, you will lose and they will leave. So listen, hopefully that helps. Just some insights, a couple ideas to think about, because our Gen Zs are here. They are going to be an amazing workforce. They've got strong ethic, they're ready to work, and they're ready to make some money. And most importantly, they say they're ready to make a difference in the workplace. Thanks very much. We'll see you again soon. I challenge you to think about your Gen Zs, interact with them, conversation with them if they're already in your workplace, but think about them in terms of what comes next. Cheers.